Good morning. My name is Will, and I'm here with my team, Courtney, Andres, and Mariana, to talk to you about our startup, Progress Insight. So, what is Progress Insight? We're an independent consulting firm that will investigate, evaluate, and train companies on their diversity at every level. So, that comes from the top corporate to the bottom entry level people. So, our goal is basically, if there's a quick elevator pitch, basically to be the equivalent of LEED certification for that buildings get for being eco-friendly and green, but for workplace diversity. So we will offer three main products. Our first is our hourly expert consultation, which will involve us going in to any company that hires us, and we will go in and evaluate and just kind of see and be able to give them kind of a forecast of what their company looks like. We won't be giving them any certification or anything like that, but it's truly for them just to learn and see what they're doing well and what they're not doing so well. Our second is our certification training, which is truly just a training. So we're not going to go in and we could go to the best, most diverse company in the world or the least diverse company in the world, and we're going to give them the same training. It's just basically giving them the guidelines of what we look for when we're evaluating companies if they're diverse or not. This is probably best for newer companies or companies that are just really looking to learn. And our third is our flagship, which is our evaluation and certification. So that's going to entail both of the first two products while also getting the actual certification. So we're going to go in, we're going to immerse ourselves in the culture. One of our consultants or multiple of our consultants, depending on the size, will go in and immerse themselves in, really get a feel for if the company is, truly diverse, look at numbers, all, look across the board at everything, and then give a certification of either gold, silver, or bronze. And we're not just going to be giving out gold to everybody. We truly think that it's an important role that we're going to play, and we're not just trying to make money, but we're also trying to make the world a better place here at PI. So some real world examples where we could have came in and helped out certain companies. First being Aunt Jemima. So obviously that's something that if they were hired by us, we could immediately say, look, this is something that's a serious problem, and you guys should really look into changing this and your brand. And we would definitely not be giving them a gold star or a gold certification for something like that. Another one would be the Redskins. They came in and they had to change their name last minute to the Washington football team in the midst of what with Black Lives Matter and racial protests going on. They really looked pretty terrible with having a name such as the Redskins. And this is obviously something that we would have been able to see and say, look, this is unacceptable and something that cannot be that cannot continue. Just another thing, not to be too sports focused, is just all sports events are adapting to new social demands. This is something that we can come in and educate the leagues on, educate teams on, of how they can kind of play their part in helping move our culture forward. So, our market is massive. Every company needs to be aware of this nowadays. It's extremely important with everything that's going on surrounding Black Lives Matter protests, racial diversity protests. This is something that it's on everybody's mind. It's the biggest story, if not for a pandemic that is happening right now. So it's something that every company can really benefit from. And we really hope that we can give companies a sense of pride from saying, hey, we are gold star certified or gold certified by Progress Insight as one of the top companies in the country as when it comes to racial and workplace diversity. And right now, there's really no firms that this is their entire business model. It's mostly independent consultants. So we really feel like we're in a unique position. So to talk more about that, I'm going to pass it off to my team member, Courtney Ortiz, who will go into more of our competition.
Thanks, Will. I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into Progress Insight and Progress Insight's competition. But before I begin, I have to mention how Progress Insight is going to be the first nationally recognized accreditation and certification program for diversity and inclusion at both the organizational level and across all industries. So why is this important? This is important because it signifies that the certification from Progress Insight is going to be the gold standard for every single organization across the entire United States. But to dive deeper into that, in order to understand why that is significant, you have to be able to understand the importance of accreditation and certification. So to explain that a little bit further, accreditation and certification processes are very rigorous, but at the same time, they are standardized and objective. So this signifies that once a certification or accreditation is received by an organization, that it is valid. It wasn't just given off of some personal bias or some type of connection to the person that's offering the certification or accreditation. Also, accreditation and certification is important because it signifies that the organization is compliant with the highest standards of excellence and quality. It also distinguishes that organization as a leader within their industry. And lastly, it serves as a public accountability marker. It lets the general public know that that organization is not only committed to continuous improvement, but also trying to maintain quality. The next thing that's great about Progress Insight is that Progress Insight has no competition. And given that our certification is going to be a national certification, we can further say that Progress Insight has no competition at the national level. It has become a growing trend over the past few years for organizations to try to incorporate diversity training into their program because of the fact that there has been many social movements going on, such as Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement as well. In 2020 alone, the top 8 diversity programs included HRDQ, Udemy, Coursera, eCornell, amongst many others. But each one of these programs does diversity training in a different way, and they all train about something different. So for example, take the healthcare industry. If University of Miami, which is University of Miami Hospital, was to try to contract HRDQ for their diversity training, they may get more diversity training in racial diversity. But let's say Baptist Health, which is also in the same region as University of Miami Hospital, they may contract with Coursera and could potentially get more of an emphasis on LGBTQ diversity within the workplace. So both of these hospitals are both getting diversity training. However, it's not the same type of training. It's not standard across both, and it's not guaranteed that both will receive the other's training. So Progress Insight is unique because when we provide our training through our certification process, we make sure that we cover all different types of diversity training and inclusion efforts within our program. The next thing that's great about Progress Insight is that we create value. We can say that we create value immediately. It is widely known that industry-level accreditation and certification awards are highly coveted by organizations because of that intrinsic value that they have. And so when you think about it, every single organization or every single aspect of our lives has some type of ranking system. And those accreditation and certifications play a part of our ranking systems. And it helps us understand more better what's considered the best versus what's considered the worst. So for example, the food that we eat. Would you rather go to a mom and pop shop, or if you can afford it, would you rather go to a Michelin star restaurant? The Michelin star restaurant is going to let you know that the food that you will receive is great quality. The experiences that you have at that restaurant will be outstanding, amongst many other great benefits. But even going beyond that, when you visit a building, the hallmark of a building's greenness or how environmentally friendly it is LEED certification. When you think about education, there's regional versus national accreditation. When we know that regional accreditation signifies high quality academic programs. All the top institutions, all the Ivy Leagues are all regionally accredited. And lastly, going back to healthcare, the Joint Commission is the organization that provides accreditation to hospitals that meet high quality standards and high patient safety standards. All the top hospitals seek Joint Commission accreditation in order to signify to the public that they are committed to that great level of quality to their patients. The last thing to mention is that Progress Insight can guarantee that your organization will have greater and more equitable minority representation and involvement. And this would be for every single organization. The reason why that is important is because we will provide the training again, but we will make sure that that level of integration is at every single level within the organization. So for example, any organization could try and boost up their minority representation. They could say that they have 50% Black employees versus 40% white employees. But if you dive deeper into that and you see that all 50% of the Black employees are at lower level paying jobs, and all 40% of the white employees are at executive level jobs, then can you really say that your organization is diverse? Can you really say that your organization is inclusive? We don't believe that at Progress Insight. We would rather see that 50% of Black employees and 40% of white employees are integrated all throughout every single level of your corporation, from executive level all the way down to lower levels as well. But the second the second part of that, which is the added benefit, is that by going through our certification process, we can guarantee that you will have additional success, overall success as organization. There's tons of research out there that shows that diverse organizations are top organizations, and they have more profits, they have more innovation, they have higher employee performance, and they attract the best talent. All of these 4 metrics are historically used in order to identify top successful organizations. So it leads one to wonder, why hasn't diversity been given more of an emphasis? When you look at our society right now, underemployment and unemployment in minority communities, depending on what community you're looking at, varies, but in generally, it's always low. And so Progress Insight, by certifying organizations that incorporate minorities and have greater involvement in minorities and representation within the organization, will mean that those organizations are securely and definitely diverse. And so we can make sure that we can at least guarantee that you will have success via our certification. And that is our product. And so to tell you a little bit more about our product and our services, I'd like to pass it over now to Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Today I'll talk to you about the 3 main components of our marketing plan. Let's start with our products. Our first product is going to be the certification standards. The standards are detailed information about the requirements companies need to meet in order to achieve the certification. These standards will be revised periodically by our industry experts. The standards will be available in 2 formats, in print and online PDF version. Our second product is our training and consulting services. The training and consulting will vary depending on each company's specific needs. The training will also vary depending on the size of the company. Our third product is the certifications. We will offer 3 levels of certification: the gold, the silver, and the bronze certification. Our last product is the 5-year renewal. After 5 years, our companies will be required to renew their certification in order to ensure they still meet with today's social norms. Our promotion strategy will be based on the domino effect. We'll target high influential companies in different industries to promote our product as a must-have high-quality certification. Some of these companies are Apple, the Walt Disney Company, Amazon, Starbucks, and Microsoft. We believe this is the right moment to promote our product. Companies around the world are being asked to make changes in their companies to ensure social progress. For example, in the 2020 US Open, the organization promoted an artistic display in the front row of the stadium. Even though we believe this is a great message, actual measurable change needs to take place. That's where Progress Insights steps in. We want to make the Progress Insight logo a symbol of ethical company procedures. Our customers will be able to promote the symbol in their investor relations page, their website, their brochures, and company documents. How are we going to deliver our products? Through 3 main ways. The certification will be available in our online website. Customers can order their PDF or their print version. The training and consulting services will be available through video conference. The actual testing will take place at each company's facilities. Now, I will hand it over to Andres, who will talk more about the financial aspect of Progress Insight. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Lamas, and I'm going to be here to talk about the financials of Progress Insight. We're going to go over the revenues, expenses, and profits. Before we begin, I would just love to thank Courtney, Will, and Mariana for their presentations. They did a tremendous job. They worked really hard on it, so thank you. So let's get started. Here we go. So for revenues, companies will pay on a per hour basis for our service. The rate is $1,000 per hour. We'll get into a little more detail how we came up with this figure, but essentially we feel like that number is less than the typical consulting standard. Expenses, by embracing the new work from home culture, we will be able to cut unnecessary costs. We'll get into how COVID has allowed us to come to this conclusion and its impact on the work from home culture. And then lastly, our growth. We're going to all tie it all together. You can see with an aggressive marketing plan, expected annual growth in clients is at least 30%. You will see how that translates to a positive trend in our profits. So expected revenue, as you can see from year 1 to year 3, we have a positive trend, as well as expected new clients from year 1 to year 3, also a positive trend. And essentially, from the revenue side, we want to charge our clients $1,000 per hour, and we want to do this for 2 reasons. One is that most consulting firms charge a higher rate, and we want our product to be affordable and obtainable by everyone, because at the end of the day, our product is supposed to create a social benefit for everyone. And so that's why we chose $1,000, and we think it's a reasonable price. And the second reason is we want to charge per hour because some companies vary in size. So we don't want small companies to be getting charged the same as big companies. That wouldn't make sense. So we have a direct relationship with how much time we take to how long we take to give a certification to how much we're charging. We expect to have 12 clients by year 1 and then grow to 28 new clients by year 2 and then grow to 37 new clients by year 3. We think this is a modest growth. Essentially, we looked into LEED certified buildings, and in 2008, they had, I think, roughly 70 LEED buildings certified in the country, and that grew to 70,000 by 2018. So we're looking at over 1,000% annual increase. We feel like we can do the same. Our product has that same feel-good social benefit effect to society, and it'll just be a domino effect once we get 1 or 2 or 3 new companies. Expected expenses, we talked about how COVID has changed the work from home culture. We see many companies that are using work from home very effectively, very successfully, and they're functioning perfectly fine. By doing this, we pretty much have 70% of our total expenses tied up to marketing and travel expenses, as well as the rest of the 20% on our employee salary. A couple of examples of companies that are doing this. Facebook, for example, within the next 10 years, Facebook expects to have 50% of its employees working remotely. This is going to be a major cost-cutting move for them. We feel like since we only need to travel to our clients where their companies are based, so we can see if they deserve the certification or if they need our training. We feel like an office presence isn't necessary, and it's going to cut us a lot of costs, and it's going to allow us to put more money into our employee salaries as well as our marketing, since we're a startup and we want to, get our name out there. Lastly, let's tie it all together. Our expected growth, as you can see, from year 1, we have a positive gross profit all the way through year 2, year 3. Net income is also rising. Again, this goes back to we are very positive that we can obtain more and more and more new clients. We think our number of new clients every year will be exponential, essentially, because everyone's going to want our certification. It's going to let the public know, oh, this company is taking the necessary steps to be socially conscious. And so we're very confident in these figures. I just want to thank you all for listening to our presentation. We love Progress Insight. We are so excited about it, and hopefully you guys are too. Thank you so much. Have a good day.